try and do a little bit more this time. So tonight I'm going to try and cook some beef with noodles in my kitchen. So first I thought I would better let you see my kitchen. We'll open it up and see how much huge space I have. Here we go. As you can see, I have a little table, and then we can come around. We have a cooker, which is not very good, and then we have a sink and a microwave, and over here we have a fridge which has got a few bits in it which we're going to use tonight. A quick look at the ingredients before we actually start to prep them. We have got spring onions, we have normal onion, noodles, we have chilies, we have red pepper, green pepper, yellow pepper, pak choy, sugar, white and black pepper, light soy sauce, dark soy sauce, oyster sauce, some salt, beef of course, tomatoes, and lastly some mushrooms. We'll start the prep on these and come back when it's all ready. So while prepping, which we're doing right at the moment, we also need to put the noodles on to cook. So we bring some water to the boil, and then we just chuck the noodles in and boil them for 2 to 3 minutes. It's not easy using this camera. So we just bring that back to the boil, and then once it's boiling we'll set the timer for 2 to 3 minutes. So now the noodles are cooked. What we have to do is cool them down in cold water and get them ready for cooking later in the wok. To cool the noodles, just take them off. I use a sieve, and then typically pour the noodles into the sieve, dry them off a little bit, and then just run some cold water through, cool them down. This will stop them cooking and they won't go overly soft. Rinse around. It's amazing how much heat they actually retain. The water is now quite hot, even though this is ice cold water from the tap. So we'll rinse them again. And that's it, they're now starting to cool very nicely. This is I won't have to rinse anymore after this. So now the prep is all done. We have the mushrooms, we have 2 different kinds of spring onion. I have separated the whites and the greens a little bit because I like to use the greens for a garnish more than in cooking. And I got thinly sliced onions, slightly chunkier onions, thinly sliced tomatoes, slightly chunkier tomatoes, which I'll use for garnish. Then we have the bok choy, we have some really hot chili pepper, and then we have the rest of the ingredients, the peppers, the beef, and then the sauces, MSG, salt and pepper. So I've switched on the pan. We need to get it really hot. Unfortunately this hob is not really great. It doesn't heat that well, but we'll put a little bit of oil in, let it heat up. I'm going to use a little bit of sunflower oil because I don't want any flavour in it. So I just put about a tablespoon in there and let that heat a little bit. And then once we've got that, we need to get the oil a little bit up to temperature. And we'll put the beef in. We want it really hot for the beef to go in. And once the beef goes in, we don't want to actually move it about too much. Just let it sit there, catch a bit of colour, and let's see what happens. Put that in. Unfortunately, I put it in a little bit too quick. It's not hot enough, but we'll just leave it there for a few minutes and see what actually happens. You want the beef to try and sear a bit and try and get a bit of colour on it. So I will just leave it for a few minutes. Not minutes, maybe 30 seconds, a minute. And then we will actually get enough colour on it. If it's spitting a lot, I use this cover just to stop so I don't have to clean up as much. But we should be nearly there. Nearly time to move. Let's check again. Okay, it's starting to colour a nice little bit. We just try and separate it out because in the packet that I have it pre-prepared in, it sticks together a bit. And just move it across a bit. Get a little bit more colour on, again leave it in for a few more minutes. You want the beef basically just cooked a little bit on the outside, and then we can add the onions in. So we've got the onions in. I hope the camera isn't steaming up, but we'll find out when we go to editing. Leave that for a little bit. Wow, that wasn't very good, but I'm eating it myself, so okay. Here we go, I'm adding the spring onion white. I'm using quite a lot of spring onion because I have to use it up, so I might as well get some value out of it. Next I want to add some garlic paste. Two teaspoons should do it. Don't let it burn, let's give it a good mix in. And I'll add the MSG. It's only a little bit just for flavour to roast it, it's quite nice. Adding my chopped tomato, the fresh tomato chopped, and my peppers. If I had a hotter wok, it would be much better to hold the heat. Unfortunately, we have to leave this then for a little while just to cook a bit. Actually, this is what happens when you haven't got your wok hot enough. It gets a little bit soggy, but it will turn out nice, I'm sure, in the end. Next, in goes my mushrooms. I'm cooking the beef and the noodles separately today because I'm cooking quite a lot to make quite a big pot, and I wouldn't be able to get the noodles in and cooking properly without them cooking separately. We'll come back in a little while. We come back again. I've just added a little bit of oyster sauce. This is getting to completely nearly done. We'll take this off then and then start prepping to get ready to do the noodles. Okay, we should be heating up nicely. It's time to start with the onion for the noodle side of the dish, even though they'll all go together in the end. This is much more finely chopped onion, and we'll soften it up a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit of chili. Well, maybe a lot of chili. The rest I'll keep for garnish. And just move that around a little bit. Oh, it smells nice. Add the noodles. Just loosen them out and then just leave them start heating through them again. Again, I probably didn't let the wok heat enough. It's not catching the noodles very well, but I'm sure we'll be okay. We got a little bit of pepper. So now we add the pak choy. That wasn't very good prep. Oh, leave that away. Start to get some heat through it. Oh good, now we're starting to get a little bit of colour on the noodles. So, next we'll be adding a little bit of water and the soy sauces. So, not too much water, we'll just add a splash. And add light soy sauce, followed by the dark soy sauce. This will add a real nice colour to the noodles. I'm dropping bits all over the place today. Next, one ingredient I forgot to mention was bean sprouts, because I always like bean sprouts in my noodles. So let's pull some out of the fridge. pop a few in. That should be enough for today. Oh, a little bit more. We'll just let this absorb, let the bean sprouts heat through a little bit, and then we will add back in the beef, mix it all up together, and then serve it. We'll come back in a few minutes. So, I've just added the beef mix back in. Everything's really coming along nicely. Now I just need to check and make sure I don't have too much sauce. I don't. So if I had a lot of sauce in there, what I would have done is I would have used some of this potato slurry, not potato slurry, potato starch with water to make a slurry, and that would be used for thickening up. But actually I don't need it, it's nice and dry. So now basically we're going to be ready to serve, and I can eat, finally, yes. So there we go, beef with noodles, garnished with chili and tomato and green onion. And I'm going to have a beer as well. Cheers. Well, I actually cleaned the hob after seeing the horror on the other first video attempt.